In today's episode of the Aeong Show, we'll be talking about last night's episode of AEW Dynamite. Hello everyone, this is Zach and welcome back to the Aeong Show. Today is Thursday and you know what that means. Last night was AEW Dynamite, and not only was it AEW Dynamite, it was the 6th anniversary edition of AEW Dynamite. Yes, that is right, it has been 6 years since Dynamite first was on TV. And a lot of stuff has happened since then, and last night was a very stacked show, which had a lot of great matches, great stories, a lot of stuff set up for next week's Dynamite, a lot of stuff set up for Wrestle Dream. So there's a lot to talk about. Again, AEW usually stacks the shows, and this was no exception. Of course, it was like a 2.5-hour special episode. So again, a lot of stuff there, a lot of stuff to get into. We did preview it yesterday, and now we get to talk about everything that actually happened today. So let's get right into it. I mean, the show started off. We had a little kind of like Being the Elite skit go on, showing the Bucks. Matt was saying he's going to go get this giant entrance for them for the 6th anniversary, one that they deserve. And then, of course, Nick goes to the casinos and loses the remaining money that they had from that $500,000 that they won, like about a month ago now. So they're back to the broke Bucks. They cut from that straight to them just in the ring, no entrance, just, this is the Young Bucks. Their title card says broke Bucks. So yeah, they're back to that. And of course, Josh Alexander comes out, and comes Brodito, Kenny. We start off with this crazy 6-man match. Again, lots of fun stuff. The Macarena thing was funny. Just a lot of back and forth stuff. Of course, eventually the good guys win. Kenny hits the one-winged angel on Josh Alexander, gets the pin, Brodito leave. And then, the lights go out, and it's like, well, what's going on here? Why are the lights going out? The lights come back on, and there's Andrade El Idolo, or Andrade Cien Almas, whichever one you know him by. He's back in AEW. I mean, we know he got released a little bit ago, and then, he's been having some banter on social media with MJF. But I was surprised to see him back so soon, like so immediately. I thought personally that maybe they'd like wait a little bit, just because, again, he's been bouncing back and forth a little bit, But again, he is very talented in the ring. Like, there's no denying how talented he is when he was like, back in the day, like in Mexico and Japan, in America. Like, he's been talented everywhere. He's had a lot of great matches everywhere. But again, it just seems like, who knows what's going to happen. Hopefully this works out for the best. But yeah, he is back. He immediately targets Kenny, takes him out. And of course, who gets into the ring but none other than Don Callis. Don Callis shakes his hand. And now we have another member of the Don Callis family, Andrade El Idolo. Again, this family is very stacked, and we'll have more to talk about them again as the show goes on. After that, we had a little video package, I've been up to 6 years of Dynamite. Very good stuff. A lot of the best moments from Dynamite. A lot of good stuff. I mean, they showed everything, everyone, which I think is appropriate. I don't think you can really talk about everything that the history of Dynamite without mentioning certain people and showing them. So again, good on them for doing that. A great little video package there. After that, we had a promo from Mark Briscoe. Mark, of course, talking about MJF and talking about all this stuff that's happened, and he still wants to be a champion, but he's still there. He's, unlike MJF, he's supportive of his friends like Orange Cassidy and Hologram. Going for the title instead of him. And after that, we get right into that, the TNT title match of Kyle Fletcher and Orange Cassidy. Again, really solid match between these two. Fletcher, of course, crazy role he's on. Orange Cassidy, a week back after his injury. He did great. Again, classic stuff. Of course, Fletcher, the fiery heel who's really determined and confident, and Orange Cassidy, putting his hands in his pockets, being disrespectful the way he does to try and get his opponent off his game. But Fletcher is very on game here, so a lot of good stuff back and forth until Fletcher did pull out the win in the end because of Hologram. but it wasn't actually hologram. Of course, Orange Cassidy went to the top rope, and then hologram came out and knocked him off the turnbuckle. Then Fletcher came in, brainbustered him on the turnbuckle. 1, 2, 3. And then, of course, the commentary's like, "Who is this hologram? What are you doing? Your friend." The conglomeration comes out. They get the hologram, and Kyle Fletcher go to the ramp. In comes all of Don Callis family. The hologram person rips off his stuff. It's not hologram, it's El Clone, the person who's been teased recently, of course. And even though hologram is injured now, they're going to continue with it, which I like to see. And he's joined the Don Callis family. So again, now another person in just one night, we get 2 new people into the Don Callis family. So again, crazy stuff there. After that, we have Mercedes Moné. She's hyping herself up, saying she's going to defend her title next week on Title Tuesday against someone from Florida. She also said she wants to be in the tag team title thing. She wants to get involved with that. Of course, she was like the initial WWE Women's Tag Team Champions with Bayley. But so she wants to be champion here as well. Of course, she has 9 belts, Moné. So we'll see what happens there. Of course, Harley Cameron kind of was messing with her. That was funny, but we'll see what happens with Moné next week. After that, we had the trios match of Hangman, Joe, and Powerhouse Hobbs against Death Riders, Moxley, Garcia, and Claudio. Good match, a lot of fun stuff there. Of course, Hangman and Moxley getting into it was always great to see. And then we had some tension during the match. We had, Joe was on the apron. He was getting ready to tag into Hobbs, but Hangman was pissed off. Gets up at the apron, puts his hands out. Hobbs tags him instead. So he gets in. Joe's a little bit like, "Why are you taking my tag? I was here already. Why are you jumping up and getting in here?" So Hangman clears house, does his thing, gets involved, finishes the thing off, gets the win for everyone. And there's after the match, they're all happy. He gets his belt. He gets the 6-man titles. He brings them in. He hands one to Hop, puts it in his chest. Hop grabs it, all good. Then he shoves it in Joe's chest as well, and just kind of lets it go. And Joe's just like, "What the hell is this? You just pushed my title in my chest and let go?" So Joe's pissed. And he gets into it with Hangman. They're in each other's faces. Joe swings at him. They're fighting back and forth. Security's all in there pulling them apart. Pretty crazy stuff. I was not expecting this. I mentioned yesterday that I was I don't know what Hangman's gonna do. I was thinking maybe Claudio or Pac, but he pinned Claudio clean. So I was I don't know what's gonna happen here. Then Joe gets into it. And I was oh, okay, that's pretty interesting. I'm for this. After the match, they had a little promo there with Hangman and I think Renee, and Hangman's pretty much just Joe, I respect you. You're someone I look up to, but don't you ever treat me like that again. Be getting in my face like that. If you want my title, if you want to prove that you're still that guy, then let's do it. Wrestle Dream 1-on-1, and there you go. That's a pretty hype match. Of course, Hangman and Joe. Joe did later respond in the show, saying seems like you kind of forgot who I am. I've been busy helping you and fighting the Death Riders, but I'm still Samoa Joe. So that's gonna be a crazy match. Again, Joe's a guy you can just toss in immediately. He's gonna kill it on the promos. He's gonna kill it in the ring. So he's a guy you can always he's never ever looking weak. So he's a guy who's always right there where you can just put him right there immediately. I didn't think he would do it because he's just the Ops and Hangman have been cool for each other, but I think it works. Neither one of them is a bad guy in this. They're both they're both good guys still, but there's that tension. Joe said, this isn't anything serious. This is cowboy shit. This is 2 guys, who need to face off and see what happens. And so that'll be great to see. After that, we had Timeless Tony Storm made her return after losing the belt, faced Ty Mello. Good little match there. Of course, Tony Storm gets to win. Afterwards, she cuts a great promo talking about how she's kind of lost. She doesn't know what to do with herself now that she's lost the title. She called out Statlander for a title match anytime Statlander wants. Great promo. The crowd sucked. I'm just gonna say the crowd sucked. They were what chanting her? It's how are you you're what chanting Tony Storm? She's kind of this amazing promo, one of her best. Just and you're what? The what chant is just it's been 24 years. Get over it. I don't know. But yeah, great promo from Tony Storm. After that, we had a little GOA versus the Swirl match. Fun little match. GOA wins, and nothing too crazy there. Afterwards, though, the Hurt Syndicate did come out, challenged GOA and Ricochet to a street fight for next week. I mean, that should be, again, I think these guys are best in brawls. Just like big, like moshes. Like, that's what I want to see with these guys. So I think that should be great next week. After that, we did get a little. First, we had Tony Statlander did accept Tony Storm's challenge, put it for Wrestle Dream. So another big match for Wrestle Dream. So again, can't wait to see that. I think Statlander, recent weeks, especially with like the Death Row stuff, like she kind of like seemed like a bigger star to me, especially in like the main event later. She just feels like a bigger star recently. So that's great to see though. We had Don Callis have a promo. He had Brodito. He wants to challenge Brodito with Okada and Takeshita. Of course, Okada and Takeshita don't really like each other, so they were a little contentious there, but Don's all for it. So that should, I mean, just match alone, Okada, Takeshita versus Brodito should be crazy next week, and can be a lot of tension building up to their eventual match, so can't wait to see that. And then we had the main event, mixed tag match, wild match, a lot of crazy stuff, a lot of crazy spots. Statlander like doing a brainbuster to Marina through the table on the outside. They brought out tags. Marina got her feet planted in the tags, and she's barefoot, so even worse. Wheeler and like a bunch of stuff with mix, Marina going after Darby, Wheeler going after Stats, going after Wheeler, a lot of stuff like that. Eventually, there's confusion. Like Wheeler brought out like a bag of I think chalk or something, got it in Marina's face, so Marina got confused. She started choking Wheeler out. Statlander did a 450 off the top onto them. Then Darby, of course, did the coffin drop off onto Wheeler. 1, 2, 3, good stuff there. Statlander celebrating. Tony comes out. Tony and her get into it, start brawling. While that's happening, here come the Death Riders, take out Darby. Pac has him choked around the neck with his belt, choking him while Moxley's cutting a promo on him. Real chaotic finish, a lot of crazy stuff. Can't wait for Moxley and Darby. That's gonna be insane. Moxley, of course, promos still one of the best. Again, I think Tony and Chris is gonna be really good one-on-one. Again, I think Chris looks like a much bigger star than ever before. And I think if she beats Tony, which she probably will, at the pay-per-view, she's going to really skyrocket from there. Again, Hangman and Joe, that's a big match for the world title. And then you have Darby and Moxley. So we have some good stuff going on for Wrestle Dream. A lot of stuff announced for next week. A lot of stuff here. I can't wait. AEW is doing great. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the episode, what you think about everything that's being announced for the future. Again, this is Zach with the Aeong Show. Like and subscribe as well. And I will see you all next time.